This one is my Radius server, and this is going to be my client. This is my Ubuntu machine, which is 2004. And this is my CentOS machine. I'll show you how to configure Radius services on both Ubuntu as well as CentOS. So let's get started. First of all, we'll install the FreeRadius on our first machine, which is our Radius server. Let's try to update it first. Now let's try to fetch the package. So the package name is FreeRadius. I'm working on Ubuntu server. So this command will install the package and the required services. And I have written the article here. You can see an article here regarding the commands required for the installations and the steps required. I'll share the link in the description. You can refer to this article for your reference. Okay, so now we have our Radius services running on our first machine, which is going to act as a Radius server. Let's try to check the service status. As you can see, we have the FreeRadius installed, which is 3.0 version. And you can see the status of the FreeRadius service, which is active. Now we'll try to configure the client devices from where we'll receive the request onto this particular Radius server. So this is the file where we'll have to add the client devices. By default, you will have the content here. Okay, I already have the file defined, I guess, from my last installation. Well, you can do this. Click on insert, come to the last section, and you can add this piece of code here. I've shared this in my article. So you can copy this piece of code. Well, make sure you align the script properly with spaces in between. Otherwise, you will see the service is failing. So this will look something like this after you add the script here, after you add the client here. So one is going to be my 40 gate firewall. Another one is going to be the client, which is this one. And the device respective password would be testing123, testing123. And then we'll add the user to the file users. Okay, this is also added because of the last installation and the testing that I was doing. But if you would like to add, and if you're doing the first installation, you will have to do VI, go to the last section, click on I, add this to line, which says this is the username, and this is the password. And you can add other attributes as well, like vendor specific attributes or the NAS IP, NAS port. But I'm going with default, just the minimum configuration on the FreeRadius server to test out the user authentication. Once again, this will look something like this, and you can copy this from my article. Now that we have the user and the devices configured, we can restart the services. And if you see any error in the FreeRadius service, make sure you check the spacing here. So just keep this in your mind that you should have a proper spacing. For reference, you can always check the one already there in that particular file, and you can align the same accordingly towards the end of the file. And since our services are running, let's try to check the status. As you can see that the service is active. Now let's get back to our client, which is our CentOS machine. Let's try to install the utility, which is FreeRadius utility. So the command is yum install FreeRadius utils, which will then install the utility FreeRadius so that you can initiate the radius authentication from the client towards the server. And on the server, you already have the utility, I guess, that comes with the FreeRadius package. So you can see here, this one is already having the FreeRadius util. I guess that comes with the FreeRadius package. So you can see here the FreeRadius util, as well as the FreeRadius service, I guess. Okay, no problem. So now everything is ready. Now we can initiate some traffic from the client to authenticate the user. For that, you can copy paste the command from my article. This is the client machine. And to explain this, this is the username that I have created. Password is password. This is the IP address of the Radius server. And this is the NAS port. By default, I did not configure anything, so I'm keeping it as 0. This is the device password that I have created here on the server. This is the IP address of the client. Now let's try to test this. Okay, this is sending the request. Username. Okay, seems like there is a connectivity issue. Let me try to check that. Okay, the IP address is different, I guess. It is going to be 2. As you can see that the request contains the username SUMID1, password is password. NAS IP by default it is taking it as 192.168.0.190. NAS port I do not have it configured, so I'm keeping it as 0. And you can see the response. To confirm that I'm receiving the traffic on my Radius server, I can do a TCP dump. So you can see here the Radius request, access request. And the reply. So that confirms that our Radius server configuration and the authentication from the remote machine is working fine. So now we can do another testing. We can configure the Radius server services on CentOS machine and try to do the same thing from the Ubuntu machine. Until now, Ubuntu machine was the server and CentOS was the client. So we will reverse the role. This will become the server. This will become the client. Same settings you have to do on the server. Okay. Let me try to check. Seems like some of the package and the dependencies were not installed properly. Okay, it is already installed. Strange. Let me try to pause it and try to find the service name. And I'll resume once I have the name of the service. All right, guys. So the name of the service is RADI. And I have started the service as well. This is the FreeRadius. Little different on CentOS, the name of the folder, the directory, and the file. Okay, let's try to add the user here. Okay, first of all, we'll try to add the client devices. Come to the last section. Paste this here. And we can change the we can copy paste the and we can update the IP address, which is going to be 2. The password will be the same. I'm not changing that. Now let's try to restart. Let's try to add the user Come down to the bottom. Click insert. And we'll try to add 2 more users. And probably we'll change it to 3 and 4. Okay, now let's try to restart the service. Service restarted. Let's try to check the status. Okay, so the service is active. Now let's get back to our client, which is our Ubuntu machine. Password, IP address of the Ubuntu server. I'm sorry, the Redis server. NAS port 0. Device password. Which is testing 1 2 3. Let's try to see. Now let's try to initiate the authentication. Request is coming in. Okay, seems like there is a connectivity issue. Let me try to check that. I'll pause the video for some time. All right, so it was the firewall which was actually blocking that service from sending the reply. So I added the service in the firewall on my CentOS. You can see here, add service, HTTPS radius permanent. And then I reloaded the firewall. After that, works like charm. You can see here, radius request and radius accept reply, confirming that my setup is working fine. All right, that was all about how to configure the radius server on CentOS and on the Ubuntu server. And I also showed you how to test the user authentication from the remote machines. I guess that's all in this video. See you in the next video. Please do not forget to subscribe to my channel and hit the like button. See you in the next video. Bye bye.